Welcome. We can't touch it. We can feel it. Get ready for an unforgettable experience. Are you ready? Five, four, three, two, one.
Thanks for joining us.
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Satya TV Sowing Seeds of Greatness podcast, where life transformation begins. The only podcast helping you integrate your body, mind, and spirit/soul. Providing you with the holistic health tools to transform your life from the inside out for total wellness. If parts are missing, you are broken. And now your host, Satya TV.
Hi, and welcome to Sowing Seeds of Greatness podcast. This is Satya TV, and what we're going to discuss today is the basics in concerning talking about the ego. The first thing I want people to understand is that there's a misconception as to what the ego is. But basically, I'll give you a definition of what it is after I explain what some of the misconceptions consist of. Firstly, most people think that the ego has to do with someone that's confident, a little bit overconfident in themselves, or arrogant. So when you don't really understand something, the problem that a lot of my clients have is that they can't figure out the root of the problem. And basically, you can't change something addressing the symptom as opposed to the cause. So because you don't understand exactly what the ego is, it's been a misconception as to actually going deep enough to find out what the root of the problem is. And again, it has to be addressed that anything concerning a teaching, a coaching of any sort, it has to move past the conceptualization. But we have to start somewhere. So understanding it conceptually first can move into the deeper part of experiencing and knowing. All right. Well, with the ego, it's basically this. And as required reading to help understand a little more and definition of the ego, I would suggest to anybody something great that I've written, and it helps me to describe it to clients, is A Course in Miracles. You can Google it and find it, actually free audio on any YouTube, or also you can find the book on Amazon. So basically their definition is one of the best I've actually heard, and I tell to my clients. The ego is basically a false sense of self. It is a conceptualized idea of oneself, which is rooted in low self-esteem, lack of feelings of worthiness. And that in itself can be mistakenly disguised as a title. It could be a title of, let's say, teacher, coach, reverend, or doctor, lawyer, or anything that might make one feel inflated. And the reason being that it's a false sense of self. It is not the true definition of self, which we are all connected and we're all the same on the inside. And it's a really incredible thing, an incredible experience to experience who you are on the inside, as opposed to what someone else's definition of you is, or in a title. Because what tends to happen is once you lose that title, for whatever reason, you get fired or retired, or you can no longer do that. Some people think that it's being a parent, a mother, a father, and then when they no longer have that job, they lose a child, or the child grows up, and then where are you? You don't know who you are. So it's, in essence, an identity crisis. And that's what the root problem is. And that's a foundation that it has to be understood before you can go any further and understand why there are dysfunctional relationships, and also a lot of feelings of self-esteem. A lot of my clients have no self-esteem or low self-esteem, which I like to call it low soul esteem, because the deeper part of who you are is really connected to your soul. So with that being said, understanding why one would get in a state of disconnect to true self becomes from the identifying with the false sense of self. And a lot of the teachings and the Vedas call it true self, the Atman. And a lot of these terms are related to Sanskrit words, and they actually go deeper into more spiritual teaching, not necessarily religious, based on another person's idea of who or what you are. So understanding that when you realize that you are much more than any title can ever define you as, or another individual, you will become much more free to do the things that you need to do in comfort and enjoy and in peace. And when you don't know who you are, you tend to allow people to tell you who you are, to direct you. And if you're not fulfilling who you are meant to be, it's probably because you're at a lack of understanding the basic principle. In later podcasts, we're going to go a little bit deeper into a lot of the situations and dysfunctional relationships that arise from the disconnect and the lack of experiencing true self, and actually learning how to acquire stillness in the mind and relaxation techniques and meditation to actually feel what it feels like to just be at a relaxation and that peace, and not letting those thoughts run away and ideas of indoctrination of who society says that you ought to be or whom you are, so that you can experience a deeper level of who you are. So right now, the first purpose of understanding is what the definition of the ego is, so that one could transcend that state of insecurity and feelings of low self-worth to achieve success, happiness, peace, and better relationships. And I hope all of you understood a little more. If you need any more on this, we'll be further speaking with this issue, and you can tune in for more. Have a nice day, and namaste.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. Keep listening to our weekly episodes to find out more.
Tweet us now